Hi, everybody. Michael Berge with Digiday, back here at the studio here at Possible. And I'm here with Rob Emrich, who's the founder and chairman of Infillion, which I think needs to be said is the sponsor of this lovely studio. So, Rob, thanks for joining us.
Sure, only softball questions as a result of that. So,
I'd love to start with a little bit. Well, why don't you quickly tell us about what Infillion is for anyone who doesn't know it? And I believe you recently had an acquisition that has expanded your business.
yeah,
Tell us about it.
we're a composable omnichannel media buying platform.
Not compostable.
Not compostable, not with a T, not
Yes,
with a T.
yeah. Composable, yes.
Composable.
So what does that mean?
Composable, if you think about the history of our company, in many ways, it's a history of acquisition. We've bought around 9 companies, I think, over the course of the last 8 years. MediaMath was the largest one that we did, or the largest, most recent one, I should say. Composable, from our perspective, means when you have different pieces of technology, when you atomize them down to their underlying components, and then allow them to be used in novel ways in different combinations.
Okay.
So it's good for customers because they can use the parts of the system that they need rather than logging into, like, as an example, a normal DSP, you just log in and it works the way that it works. With ours, there's a lot more flexibility. So we have different use cases for different customers that want different things.
Now, is the lion's share of your business programmatically bought?
Yeah, almost all of it's all programmatically executed.
Okay.
Meaning that, our whole system is programmatic. In terms of how people buy from us, it's a mix of managed and self-serve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that is it feels like, the broader ad tech world has always had a place here at Possible. It feels like the programmatic part of that ad tech world is kind of growing in importance here because more and more inventory is being bought programmatically. What is your take on programmatic's place here at Possible, but also in the broader industry?
Right. I think when I think of ad tech, I think of programmatic.
Yeah.
So, it's sort of one and the same, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
For me, at least the way that we look at the world. Where do I see programmatic overall? I think, let's use MediaMath as an example. We use MediaMath as our infrastructure.
Yeah.
But then it's also a brand name of our self-serve tool that we sell to to agencies, to brands, to whomever is buying advertising. But then we also have a version of it that is essentially a white label that other companies essentially lease from us, and then they bring that to advertisers. So when I think of programmatic, I think of the infrastructure, and then I think of sort of the go-to-market, and that's how we've organized our business too.
Okay. It's Possible is kind of, this juncture of tech, media, marketing, and culture. How do you fit into this beyond just the tech part of it? I think of programmatic as dissociated from culture, but it clearly has its impact with the way media is bought and sold and how that can affect people who are exposed to culture. It's a bit of a weirdo question, but any thoughts on how you guys impact culture?
When I think about, how programmatic impacts culture, I think about the creative. I think that often gets lost in the programmatic ecosystem. People are very focused on the pipes, not necessarily what's going through them or what appears to the end user. One of the things that I think we're most proud of is that we have an incredible amount of flexibility as it relates to the creative.
Yeah.
If you look at our product like TrueX, that is a value exchange product, it's a very unique type of a product that sort of honors the fact that there's a real person on the other end of it that's seeing the ad in the middle of whatever content they're consuming. And then we're coming up with more and more new, essentially front-end creative ad experiences. But I think that, the creative is where the actual user interfaces with our company.
Right.
And so that's where I think probably the most opportunity for culture to be a part of programmatic. In terms of culture, I think technology is, generally speaking, the people that work at our company itself, it's, technology is the culture now, it seems.
Yeah, no, it's a very good answer to a really silly question on my part. So sorry about that. Let's talk a little bit about the economy from what you're seeing. We've got, tariffs, we've got a lot of economic uncertainty. Supply chains might get disrupted. what are you hearing from your clients in terms of concerns or maybe doubling down? You know, some marketers and agencies might think about heading up at a time when others pull back. What are you hearing?
We're not seeing any significant pullback yet. In fact, there was one of our larger customers is a retailer, and like a large national retailer, and we expected them to pull back.
Yeah,
but they haven't. They have doubled down.
They have doubled down,
which was surprising to me. But we have not seen it yet. I think everybody is sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it hasn't hit us yet.
I'm still trying to figure out what that shoe is exactly, because there has been somewhat mixed messaging from the administration on whether to proceed with tariffs or cut the deals and then pull back on tariffs.
I don't know what that other shoe is, but I know it's not going to be made in China.
Very well said. That was a good one. Let me ask you this. AI probably plays some role in how it gets applied at Infillion across the various companies you have. Can you talk a little bit about how you use it and what its impact has been?
So when I mentioned that we're a composable ad buying platform, what we've done is we've taken all of the constituent parts, the components, and we've made them separate and distinct services. When we think about AI, we think about agentic AI. Like how specifically is workflow going to be impacted? And so the first step for a company like us is to make all of the different services, all of the underlying products, whether it's our creative product, whether it's a targeting product, whether it's the logic in our bidding, that each one of them is separable and is usable by an agent. And so we are in the middle of that process now of essentially upgrading the protocol that our APIs use in order to make them usable by more complex agentic AI.
Wow, that's pretty sophisticated. Do you feel that what's out there and available for you to make use of is up to snuff to be able to pull that off, or do you have to create some of that technology?
I think this industry is a little bit slow in adopting it, and I also think it's gonna have a significant impact on the people in our industry. Meaning like the amount of people that are needed. I'm generally optimistic that I don't know that there'll be a reduction of people, but people will be able to do more fulfilling things and less tedious things. That's my hope. That's my hope. I don't think most companies are ready for it. And when I say that, I mean, if you look at some of the larger incumbents in our space, the companies that we compete against, an incumbent does not want the market to change. They want to do every single thing that they can to keep it the way that it is.
That's how they got to where they are.
Exactly. I think of ourselves as a challenger to those incumbents, and we really are embracing agentic AI. And so we've been working to make our platform agentic AI compliant through a model context protocol is what it's called. That's how we've adapted our APIs, and we're going to continue to lean into that over the course of time.
And you see that as possibly getting a competitive advantage to do an end run around those incumbents?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. Last question for you. Hear it possible. What are the conversations you're looking to listen in on and kind of the signals you want to take back and infuse to your team at Infillion? Any thoughts on that? Any particular topics you want to like?
I mean, agentic AI is fascinating to me. And I think it's going to have a very big impact over the course of the next 3 years. It's interesting to see and to hear what some of the bigger players are doing and then what some of the upstarts are doing. And I'm thinking more and more about like, how would a company like that be part of our platform, whether it's a partner or something that we might acquire? I think that there's going to be a tremendous amount of change over the course of the next 3 to 4 years.
And you will continue to be acquisitive?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be keeping an eye on it.
Cool.
Rob, thanks for stopping by.
Sure.
Appreciate your time. Cheers.